Hi, everyone. My name is Aleisha, and welcome to our first episode of our new podcast series, Let's Get Movin', brought to you by the Health Peers. For those who aren't familiar with us yet, the Health Peers do a wide range of outreaches on a number of topics related to physical activity, nutrition, mental health, sexual health, and more. In this podcast series, we cover topics about active living and physical health specifically. But first, we want to respectfully acknowledge that we are recording from the unceded traditional Coast Salish lands, which include the Tsleil-Waututh, Qayqayt, Stolo, Stz'uminus, Katzie, Tsawwassen, Kwantlen, and Wasanish nations. I also want to share a little bit of information on one of these nations, the Tsleil-Waututh Nation. This means the people of the inlet, as the Tsleil-Waututh primarily traveled and were sustained by the waters of the Burrard Inlet. I would now also like to take this time to introduce my co-hosts for this podcast and fellow health peers. So please welcome Jaskaren, Sonia, Kaylla, Mariel, and Anna. And without further ado, let's get moving. I like to start off our podcast with a quick introduction to the Canadian Physical Activity Guidelines. Recently, the Canadian Society for Exercise Physiology, CSEP, released updated movement guidelines that integrated sleep, sedentary behaviors, and physical activity. Instead of only looking at weekly activity goals, it is recommended that we look at our whole day and how spending time on one of these movement behaviors impacts the amount of time we have to spend in the other. Due to COVID-19, many Canadians are not getting the same amount of physical activity as before. This can negatively impact our physical health and mental health. CSEP recognizes how it's difficult to stay active during these times, and they want to emphasize that some activity is better than none. For adults ages 18 to 64 years, it's recommended that they get physical activity that includes at least 150 minutes per week of moderate to vigorous activity. This includes using muscle strengthening activities for the major muscle groups at least twice a week and several hours of light physical activities such as standing. In terms of inactivity or sedentary behaviors like sitting, it's recommended that we limit these to 8 hours or less, with no more than 3 hours of that being recreational screen time. We should also break up long periods of sitting as much as possible. And finally, for sleep, we should be aiming to regularly get 7 to 9 hours. With people spending more time at home, days often blend together. It's important to make sure that we keep consistent bed and wake up times. So we'll be discussing a bit more about these guidelines throughout our podcast, as well as how to incorporate these new guidelines into your life from a wellness lens. So my question to everyone is, how has COVID impacted your physical health? Kaylla, would you like to go first?
Yeah, for sure. Before we had to go into quarantine, I used to be fairly active. I went to the gym quite often, around like 3 times a week. But now, since we had to stay home, I usually find YouTube videos on different types of exercises and try to walk outside as well. So since it's been more lenient that the gyms are open now, I do have a gym membership, and I tend to go with my sister and my boyfriend to help keep me motivated. Usually I would go at odd times during the day or during the night to make sure that there's not a lot of people at the gym and to ensure social distancing. So my workout schedule has gotten back to normal. And yeah, so how has COVID impacted your physical health, Sonia?
Thanks. I was really active before COVID and, doing quick workouts every day in between studying and going to work. But staying home has caused me to become super lazy and I feel drained 24/7 as the pandemic got longer and longer. Days just started blending in together and I felt like I didn't have the energy for working out anymore. In trying to adjust today, I've been playing Just Dance a lot to increase my physical activity in hopes to become more active and to keep things fun when COVID is bringing everyone down. What about you, Jaskaren?
So similar to Kayla, I used to go to the gym a lot before COVID. But you know what? Luckily, with this extra time I have, it's given me more time for low impact exercises like walks and runs in my neighborhood and the local forest. It has been harder in the winter months to do this, but luckily the weather is getting nice again, which is good. How about you, Anna?
So similar to everybody else, I have found it kind of difficult to get motivated to work out, regularly, especially when you can sleep all day if you really want. But I have found the flexibility nice because I've been able to make sure that I do get enough sleep when I don't have to wake up super early for classes. And I also think that, now I can move my workouts around my lectures, or my lectures are pre-recorded. So I have a little bit more flexibility to get in the activity that I need.
Anna, that's a great point. This brings me to the next section, sleep. We all know a good night's sleep does wonders for your mood, energy levels, and behavior the next day. Can exercise help us achieve that much coveted shut-eye? Researchers aren't quite sure yet of how exactly physical activity affects sleep, but one key finding is that exercise may increase the time you spend in deep sleep. This stage of sleep is highly regenerative, where toxins and other wastes are literally cleaned out of your brain. And because exercise can help manage your mood, this can ease your transition to hit the sack with calm and collectedness. So how can I ensure that my exercise might help me sleep? Since exercise causes the release of endorphins, you might want to leave a 1 to 2 hour frame after exercise before sleep time. Endorphins are endogenous hormones that mimic opioids, so these are hormones that your body makes, and they can provide pain relief and make you feel good. This can assist you in winding down and allowing levels of endorphins to go back to baseline before resting. Also, being active raises your body temperature. During sleep, your core temperature falls, so leave some time before bed to let that heat dissipate from your body. Use your judgment to time when you work out to avoid being overstimulated at night. Finally, getting that 30 minutes of physical activity, walking, dancing, anything that gets your heart pumping, your heart does not discriminate, is enough to see an improvement in quality of sleep. No matter what you choose, it'll help you get that much-needed snooze. Excess stress, especially chronic stress, is detrimental to our mental health and interferes with our daily responsibilities. Stress essentially suppresses our immune response to conserve energy, so having that happen over the long term is probably not the greatest outcome. There's also another hormone that might be a key player when it comes to exercise. Some researchers say that norepinephrine, a traditional stress hormone, might actually help us respond to stress better by mediating other hormones' action. When we exercise, our brain releases more norepinephrine. So initially, our brain racks up the stress response when we begin a physical activity. But after working out, the other stress hormones like cortisol decrease and we're able to feel that sense of relief, like running into a house after being chased by a bear. Additionally, research from the Journal of the American Osteopathic Association found that exercising in groups reduced stress more than working out alone. This comes from a more holistic perspective on well-being, one that takes into account the physical, emotional, and mental aspects of health. So, even at this time, you can take a walk with proper social distancing and masks, or you can pick a YouTube yoga session, exercise video, share screens, and do it with a friend over Zoom. So now I want to ask you guys, what are your experiences with exercise and stress?
So for me personally, going for a walk with a friend or my dog always makes me feel better when I'm stressed out. I like getting outside in nature. I find that even a little bit of exercise goes a long way for my mental health. How about you, Jaskaren?
I agree. When I'm stressed, I find exercise really helps. So for me, that means going out in nature to my local forest. And that brings me to the topic of exercise and energy levels. So exercise in general is a great mood booster. It releases endorphins, which make you happy. Exercising outside in nature or just near greenery has also been shown to increase your mental health. Another benefit of working out is that after working out or scheduling in a workout for the day, most people feel in control of their lives, which further helps with productivity and time management. As you start to reach new goals and feel good about your body, you will gain confidence as well. Exercising also increases the blood and oxygen flow in your body and brain, giving you energy. This also helps with cognitive functions and gives you a clearer focus and better memory. Lastly, the increased blood flow is a result of an improved cardiovascular system, which means you'll have more energy throughout the day. Exercising releases serotonin, which can help control depressive feelings and prevent them from reoccurring. In fact, regular exercise may have the same benefits as antidepressant medication. Sonia will touch more on exercise's impact on mental illnesses.
So exercising appears to have a positive effect on mental health. There's a lot of research out there focusing on the effects of physical activity and mental health, such as depression and anxiety. There was a study that was published in 2018 that studied the association of exercise and mental illness and found that those who exercised reported 1.5 fewer days of poor mental health each month. That's roughly a 45% reduction in poor mental health days among those who exercise. For those of you who are still entertaining the idea of adding exercise into your daily routine or simply do not have the time for a long workout, the study found that exercise for just 30 to 60 minutes was associated with the biggest reduction in poor mental health days. In a study focusing on the influence of anxiety in exercise, the researchers found that walking or jogging achieved significant improvements in cardiovascular fitness compared to strength and flexibility exercises. However, both study groups achieved similar significant reductions in anxiety scores. There is no perfect definition of how much exercise or which type of exercise you should do. As long as you're staying active, there appears to be a positive benefit to your mental health. So for all of you that are in the podcast, how do you use exercise to help with your own mental health? For me personally, I exercise to take a break from online learning and watching Netflix and going on my phone constantly. Spending a lot of time online really drains me, so to balance my screen time, I go for a short walk or I play Just Dance for a great energy booster. What about you, Anna?
One reason that I try to exercise regularly is because it helps me get much better sleep at night. This helps with my mood, my energy, and my focus, which is especially important when I have to study all day. I want to be able to be productive while I'm studying. So exercising and being a little bit tired in the evening helps me fall asleep and sleep through the night. What about you, Aleisha?
Yeah, I completely agree. Exercise helps me sleep too. I know whenever I'm really nervous or anxious, I like to channel all my nervous energy into workouts. Workouts also help me get calm and calm me down. I also like to work out in the morning because it wakes me up. It gives me that energy boost. What about you, Jaskaren?
The thing I really like about exercising is that I find it really clears my mind and makes me less anxious and more happy thanks to all the endorphins. What about you, Kaylla?
Similar to Aleisha and Jaskaren, I usually use exercise as a mood booster and an energy booster throughout my day because school is usually pretty tiring and pretty draining. So it's a good way to refresh my day. And especially because exam time is coming up, people may have less time for exercising. So I'm here to talk about how to incorporate fitness into exam preparation. So since we are nearing exams, we tend to stay away from proper exercise because we might not have enough time. There is always something you can do to stay active when preparing for finals. We have 24 hours in the day, so we do have time to plan accordingly in order to balance our study schedule and our fitness agenda. Why is it good to exercise when you study? Well, as we talked about earlier, engaging in physical activity is known to release those feel-good neurotransmitters in your body called endorphins. It can help reduce stress, improve your mood, and memory. It's similar to meditation, but it is released because we are in motion. So here are some tips to help prepare you for exams and to fit your fitness schedule into exam preparation. So remember, a little goes a long way. Even just walking back and forth on a flight of stairs is already an achievement. Also, you can take stretch breaks. I find myself during lecture, when my prof wants to take a break, I just go and do a few stretches. Even if it only takes 5 minutes, a little goes a long way, like I said earlier. So low impact exercises are pretty good during those tiny breaks that you have during the day. Also, planning accordingly. The average Canadian needs around 30 minutes of exercise per day or 150 minutes per week, as mentioned earlier. So in order to plan accordingly, when you wake up, you could engage in a 30-minute exercise to act as a booster to your day, or you can exercise after studying at the end of the day to feel more awake. Remember, you don't need to push yourself and work out for hours to feel accomplished. Just moving your body and breaking a sweat is all you need to help keep you and help you feel more active. So the last thing I would like to talk about is finding your peak hours. Try to find that certain time frame during your day where you are most motivated. During those peak hours, try to do your studying, do all your learning, everything that you can do for exam prep. And then on those times where you're not motivated, so your non-peak hours, try to incorporate a physical activity, such as walking around your neighborhood, following exercise videos, playing Just Dance like Sonia, or simply walking up the stairs and walking down the stairs. For example, I am most motivated and active at night, so I use my peak hours, which is at night, to do all my studying. But during the day, I would try to plan out my workouts and try to stay active, find ways to keep me active as well. So, what are some ways you incorporate exercise into your studying routine, Jaskaren?
So for me, I like to set a timer for every hour to get up and move around, even if it's just something simple like walking up and down the stairs or a few squats or lunges. And after a long day of studying, I like to make sure I work out so I don't feel sluggish for the rest of the day. How about you, Sonia?
I study nonstop during the late afternoon, so I incorporate a quick workout after I'm finished studying so I can take a relaxing shower as a reward before bed. If it's the weekend, a friendly rival game of Just Dance with my sister is always a lot of fun. The best way to incorporate exercise into my routine. What about you, Aleisha?
I completely agree with both of you. I like to take mini study breaks to help break up my nonstop studying. Whenever words start to blend together, it also helps wake me up to do just some jumping jacks, and also helps separate my study blocks into different little periods. I also like to take a walk in the evening. It gives me something to look forward to and also lets me get some fresh air. What about you, Anna?
Yeah, so as Kaylla mentioned earlier, we all have our peak hours when we're motivated. And for me, 3 p.m. is when I'm super tired and unmotivated. So I found that after I study all day, it's really helpful to do a quick little workout in the afternoon when I'm not going to be getting much studying done anyways. That way I feel a little bit more motivated and energized for later into the evening when I have more work to do. So thanks everybody for all those great points, and thanks to everybody who's listening. We hope you found this episode helpful and now know a little bit more about how an active lifestyle can benefit your mental health. Today we learned about how moving around aids with sleep, stress, mood, energy, managing mental illness, and even prepping for exams. We encourage you to apply some of our tips to your own lives throughout the semester. If this podcast was helpful, we would love to hear your thoughts and opinions about how exercise affects your mental wellness. So be sure to watch out for future podcasts by the Health Peers. Bye, everyone.